Boom, recording, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a wonderful day in the markets. Now, I'm going to lead this off by letting you know what we're going to be looking at in the video. Starting with Bitcoin, our market alpha. We're then going to look at Binance because it's a play that I'm in. But I also want to put on the table very quickly KNC, I guess Kyber Network, OMG, Omise Go. I'm going to put Tron on there, not because I like it, just I like the technicals right now look good. And there's one or two more, so stick around to the episode, that are in a very, very close potential to a big breakout again. Now, we're in a bull market, so we're just going to start off by diving in. Now, I've gone over this in our other videos before. We're in a bull market. Yeah, it hasn't hit the mainstream yet. It hasn't hit retail. Retail are the last people to know that the bull market has started. It's just not noticeable in Bitcoin yet. So as we're looking at Bitcoin, we've got our daily open, we've got our buying climax or distribution, and we've been watching our accumulation pattern. So for the Wyckofians out there in the Bear family, you know what we're about to go over. For those of you that don't, either join the private group or do your research by looking on Google. Okay, so here we can see right now that we've started to form a new trading range. Now, there's two things I want to go over. Now, number one is something that we've actually talked about many times, and it's something you see on the weekly when we clean up the chart, and it's known as the 21-week moving average. We've talked about this many times. The very first time we talked about it was actually way back here when we ran up to $13,000. Now, if you've been a fan of the Arcane Bear for a long time, you will have remembered that I said at this point here, when we didn't touch the 21-day moving average, that I was worried that this was a sign of an unhealthy movement upwards and that this was not going to equate into a bull market rally. I've said this multiple times back here in April of 2019 because I saw a big B wave, a corrective wave coming in. Correct. That was correct. So why did I know that was happening? Well, I wasn't the only person that saw it. Actually, for many years, a test of the 21 moving average on a log chart is a very bullish indicator, and a multiple test of it is a very healthy indicator of a bull market cycle starting. So here you can see we broke around it once or twice here back in 2015, this area here. And then we started to move. We had one touch, two touch, three touch, four, and then we broke up and went more parabolic off of the 21. So now that we've gone above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, and then do we touch here and stay above it? And I do believe that that is the case. So that's my personal opinion at this moment. Now, for anyone that's a good at trader and investor, they know two things. Number one, we don't know what's going to happen. And number two, there's a story that we can see by looking at these fundamentals and technicals mixed together. So right now, what's beautiful is on this new box range, we see the 9-day and the 9-week and the 21-week moving average, basically forming the range of this box. So this is a very, very important area for us to hone in on. And even more importantly, look at this. When you go in on the daily, this accumulation pattern that we're watching, or let's say this trading range, because we don't yet know if it's accumulation or distribution. So that means accumulation will break upside, distribution means it will break to the downside. So we get to witness that. But look here, our price is slammed up against the daily 50 moving average below the 21 and now is closing back above it. Now just in time to start to make a move into this trading range and let us develop. Now, if we go back again to the fullness of the daily story, we can see that where we are in phase D would likely equate to an SOS that would jump around $15,000, and that's what I'm leaning towards now, is that we're going to move through this box. We're going to give ourselves some time, probably October, November, and then we're going to have a break up into the SOS here, and a reaccumulation probably just above the box or somewhere in below it temporarily. And the time frame here is incorrect, but probably into 2021, like after the elections and everything settled down, we get towards spring, it will actually start to go up again much higher than $14,000. But I do believe we're going to see this SOS in Bitcoin like this. Okay, well, great. I know I've got some time there. Now, how did I come to that assumption? Well, let's also take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum started a bull market already. It's clearly in its backup phase after the SOS. So for those of you, again, that don't know much about this stuff, you've got two choices. You can research everything you would want to on the internet by yourself, or you can join our private mastermind group by joining the links below. That's it. It's the only plug you get. So here, as we see, we've had our LPS, our SOS, and we're currently in our, let's bring this over here, our backup phase, this BU here. That's our little acronym for it. So we've gone over this multiple times as well, but I'm just going to keep repeating myself because we have the time to do so, and it also helps educate myself by repetition, because that's how you ultimately win the game, is through practicing these skill sets. So again, we've got our lower regression line here, and we have most of our support on the volume profile around $250, $260. So we'll have to keep an eye on this range here. More importantly, the trading range, I think in general, will help. So we could come down to the bottom of this, again, time frame irrelevant, and then up, which is very likely in my opinion. Now, if you will wait, we're going to show you how exciting these patterns are out into the future, because you have to remember that this bull market has started already, but retail doesn't know. But the bull market started in the pandemic. Who would have thought? The more research I've been doing, I've read multiple books from the 1800s now that says these exact same things. The bull market starts in the panic. You just have to know when to enter. And that's a big trigger point. You should always keep that in your mind when you're learning how to play and invest like a gangster. So again, what do we see that's important here with Ethereum as we're using it as one of our market leaders, because it's already broke out into its SOS phase. Again, it's just a time thing. I have most of my position in Ethereum built already. When I see it turn around, that will be a big indicator that something has changed, and you get multiple chances. So we're going to look into the future now at what multiple chances look like by first off going to Binance and showing a preliminary story, and then OMG up after, or a post story. So Binance right now we're going to use because I've been building a position in it since August. So one of the things I've always talked about is my desire to build campaigns and you scale in over time so that you have an aggregate of the price. Pretty much anywhere around this box range is good, because there's a much bigger story coming. You just have to be able to be patient or know how to play it. So I took a position here. I let it run up. I sold about 70 to 75% of my position, around 30% here, around 30% here, and then last 15% here. It's not super risky. It's quite conservative, but it plays well because I have that volume suppression of the whale moving up for me to actually sell into. So I can take my profits where there is liquidity. So after this fall down period, this is where we start to see our backup phase. So once the backup phase started to turn around, and I know it's a little messy because I'm mid-trade here, but once the backup phase started to turn around here at this bottom part of the bottom part of this transition in here, we'll put the regression lines back on. I'm sorry that's so messy, guys, but see how we dipped below this regression line and then we came right back up to this one? It's a very, very strong indicator. And because we just finished our SOS, we can likely somewhat insinuate that this could be starting its bull phase very soon. So I started building a big position for two reasons. You can see them here as we zoom in. I'll go to the 15-minute so I can show you multiple reasons why I entered. So for the Wyckofians, again, for those of you that are studying trading ranges and how to take advantage of them, here was a new trading range that formed. We saw our test, our move through the top of the box and a rising gradient bottom. We saw our first backup, and right here is where I started to build my position. Right between these two, I built around 30% of it here, and then I built around 30 to 40, and then more of it here. I de-risked here the other day, and then I reaccumulated back here the most of my position because I'm still quite bullish based off all the other things I've seen. So let's move forward. So now we're going to go and we're going to look back in time at Tron as a comparison for BNB, just because I want to show something here that I think is really exciting for all the Bear family members. So here we're going to give a shout out to Supernova Leanne as well, one of our great Bear family traders. She was able to take advantage of Omisego today and helped a few of the other Bear family members find their way in understanding where they were. So one of the things I don't go over yet in too much in the educational aspect is what happens when you're looking at a trade move outside of the box and off of its bottom regression line. So here's Tron. I don't like Tron, but at this point I don't care. I'm just here to make value propositional changes from these backup phases or LPSs into these SOS phases. So we're also going to look at Link to make a full story assumption here. And it's just an assumption. It's an operating thesis. So you have to be able to play with stop losses and know your risk level. We're all different in this way. So here we saw Tron after its backup phase. So compared to Binance after its backup phase, only 12 days. Great. That's where Binance is too. Very quick turnaround. Okay, well, look at this. See, you get 100% spike, and then look how quickly the price gets drawn down. Boom, 30 to 40%. Okay, well, let's look at Omisego. What happened with Omisego? So great. Leanne's been playing this one really, really well. So here we had our out-of-the-box SOS. We had a clear reaccumulation pattern. For those, again, of you that are studying, you'll know exactly what these look like. I don't have to explain them, but if you don't know, again, just, do the thing. So here's a clear reaccumulation pattern with the spring down at the bottom, and then the second regression line started to form, and it hit this secondary regression line and then broke up. So it seems like there's multiple plays that are coming. So we can actually look again into the future and say, okay, well, here is Kyber network. Okay, very similar. You've got your backup phase down inside the bottom of the box. Your backup phase, boom, big LPS breakout, and then a 30% down, 40% downswing, followed by another big SOS, 189% the second time, followed by another 40%, 55% downswing on Kyber network. So, well, what about Bancor? Okay, well, here this one actually was a little interesting because you had a very strong, very short backup phase. They bought this. Bancor got bought up and moved up really quickly. But again, we've hit another regression line. So right now, what I think is important to do is keep watching these trades as they progress into the future, because let's look at Link now. Because look, I like Link. I didn't understand it. There's a lot of things I don't understand, so we'll start with that. But now that I'm looking at it from strictly technical, and some of the hype is cooled down, I get a chance to understand it, because I only look to enter a market when it's cooling down and hopefully close to the bottom, as close to the selling climax as possible. So here, same thing with Link. Backup phase, boom, first LPS test, second SOS, LPS, SOS, LPS, SOS, LPS, SOS, LPS, before a final big, massive change of character. And look at this, from the backup phase to the change of character was 396 days. Okay, so what does that mean? You had approximately 50 to 60 days up. You had approximately 50 to 60 days down. No, you're kidding, right? Okay, so 50 to 60 days. Okay, and wait, hold on. 50 to 60 days down. Okay, 50 to 60 days up, 50 to 60 days down. Okay, well, do we see this anywhere else? Do we see this in Omisego or Tron? Well, let's take a look. Okay, now we're going to have a different character, so this is important to remember, right? This is a different pool, most likely. This is a different market operator. So the timing isn't going to be the same thing, but you're going to get reflections of it. So you've got around 80 days here. Okay, and then what do we got here? Well, we're at 38 so far. So I would suspect that if let's just assume that it has some type of time relevance. You build what would be an accumulation range here. Here's the top of the box. Here's the sideways portion of the box. We would see a continuation of the pattern for another 30 days, something like this. And again, I'm just making an assumption here with Omisego. It would come back down, make this, do a breakout SOS test, and then start another big LPS and SOS. And that right there is what I'm excited about, because we have seen that they repeat themselves. And this opens up the door for our entry into the rest of the DeFi sector. I'm going to leave it at that because it's a long video today. I hope that was helpful. I'm very excited about my particular Binance play right now. Let's just take a look at it as we're closing the show. Awesome. Look at all that strength in the market there in the 15-minute. Boom. When I'm going in, I'm going to show you guys some stuff. So I'm going to show you kind of the trade position again so that I can show you how I follow it. Because we're early on in this, right? What I'm doing right now is building a position that I'm going to be able to trade multiple times in and out for those SOS and LPS trades, because they are big in these liquid markets, like seriously big, a lot of fun to be a part of. So I like to build a campaign. So after that SOS, again, beautiful accumulation box, nice ascending channel, a break out of the channel, a fall back only into the mid-range with a nice little bit of fear and a check, right? And then if I turn on my 3 moving averages, well, you can see here a test of the 50. This is very beautiful. I'm really excited about the Binance play. Now, if you guys are new to trading, don't. Just observe, because it's not the only opportunity you're going to get. And chances are, if you're new to trading, you're going to get in at the very wrong time, like Binance up here. And then Binance is going to shoot up again, and you're going to think you're awesome. And then it's going to fall back down another 40%. And you're not going to know, you're going to keep getting dragged through the market. So even if you're not in the market, what you can do right now is make a very valid use of your time by studying where you are and understanding that once you know where you are, it's one of the most valuable things and tools to have in the market, because it will allow you and empower you to make a proper decision with what to do with your capital at that time. This is Tia with the Arcane Bear. Super excited. That was a lot of fun, guys. We've got a lot of exciting things coming for you guys in the future too. So thank you to all the private bear members. We hope you enjoyed the episode today. Smash like or not, whatever, your call. Leave your thoughts, your comments in the section down below. Just be patient. Keep educating yourself. Be wildly curious about these things. If you're truly interested, more than just to want to try to make money, you will ultimately be successful. It's just about patience and often timing, because you don't control the markets. You just get to play along in them. So, yeah, we'll give you guys a logo, and we're out. Bam.